Hello, HIN 620. Today we are going back to the future to visit Chapter 1. The previous chapter showed us how to create tables and indexes and constraints and all that kind of stuff. So now that we have that information, we can go back and review to some level the select and insert, update, and visit delete, which we haven't touched on yet. This will be a short screencast because there's not a whole lot to go over that's new, and there are no exercises for this chapter. I just want to take the chance to mention some things that were brought up in the book that may have gone against what I said in the first week's screencasts about naming conventions, and I kind of like what the book has to say to make the keywords like select and from and insert to be capital letters, and then everything else in small letters. So I had said I do tables in and columns in capital letters, but I think I like this one better. So it's a preferred way. It depends on how you like to read it, but this makes it more readable because you can see in bold letters the words that are the keywords. So if we just take a quick look at the select statement that you've all already used at some point. There's just various ways you can do a select. You can say select star, and that gives you all. You can do a count star, and that'll just give you the how many rows it's going to return. Or you can select a value or a list of values. So if we run those, you see that they return various values down here of all 123 rows, or just one row that has one value in it, or just the name of everything. So select is very powerful, but it's also the basic command. For inserting, as we also saw, you have inserting into a table the columns of the values you want to insert, and then the values themselves. And we can run the insert command to insert a value into the table. And once I called it insert test, and it should go to the bottom, and there it is. So now that we've inserted that value, let's update it, and we can do that by issuing a command where it's update, set, and where. So it's update the table, set the new value where this thing is true. Now I could have used many different things such as the vendor ID or whatever I wanted. I just chose to update the name based on what the name currently is. So if I do that, issue that command, and then I select the table again, and now it's called update test. So let's say I now wanted to delete that value. There's of course a delete command. So it's delete from the name of the table and then where. And this is the one where you want to be kind of careful on update as well, but you just want to make sure you're deleting exactly what you want to delete. And one of the tests I use, or tricks I use, I should say, for both updating and deleting, if I'm a little nervous about it, is I first do a select of the same data that you're looking at. So if you want to delete where the vendor name equals update test, let's just see what's in there first. And so let's do that. And I see that there's the actual row that I do want to delete. So I will now feel safe in deleting it because it didn't return any other rows. I want to make sure I wasn't deleting anything I didn't want to. So now I'll say delete that, and that row is no longer there. So that is the basic commands of select, insert, update, and delete. One other thing the book mentioned that I thought was important that I've noted before is that the text that you're typing in here is what's called freeform, which means you can put as many blank lines as you want to in between things and spaces. So it's really a good idea to separate your commands such that it's easy to read. So you have a delete on one line and the where on the next line. And if you had a select, you have a from, and then you have the where, and then you might have an order by, and each one on a separate line. So that's I think that's pretty good advice. And then the final thing is, as far as this chapter 1 goes, is I would not pay much attention to pages 36 through 39, which talks about using SQL in via either PHP or Java. I highly doubt you're going to need that right now. It might be good to keep in the back of your mind, but I would ignore that for now. So onward and upward to chapter 2. See you in a bit.